Maybe I'm getting to the party late. Maybe this is actually something that I should have talked about a week ago. But the Calder race. Let's give a little bit of an update here, because when it comes to Moritz Seider's 2021-2022, I think a lot of people can go out there and right away just snap their fingers and say, I am inevitable. Wait a minute, no, don't do that. That's a different thing. But you can snap your fingers and say, yeah, it's probably going to be Seider winning the Calder, right? Because he's been so good this season as a rookie, doing all the things he's doing as a defenseman, and a de facto number one defenseman at that. I mean, I don't want to say he's a prime time, number one defenseman already, but he's the best defenseman on the Red Wings, so that's got to account for something, right? But on the other hand, you still have yourselves the guy who is the number one point producer now amongst rookies. I mean, okay, at the time of recording this audio, he's actually tied with Raymond, but for a good chunk of like a week ago, he was number one, and the conversation was pretty skewed into having a debate between Seider and this other guy. Who is this other guy, you ask? Well, we're talking about Michael Bunting of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And there's a lot of people going out there and trying to discredit the idea that Bunting should be in the running for the Calder, pretty much because he's 26 years old already and technically is still Calder eligible by the hairs of his chinny chin chin. Let's go over to the NHL's Calder voting thing, not the voting thing, but like the qualifications, what actually causes you to be eligible for this award, and just go over how slim the margin is here for Michael Bunting and his eligibility in 2021-2022. And so records.nhl.com goes over the entire award. This is an award presented annually to the player selected as the most proficient in his first year of competition. Again, that does not mean this is given to the player that is going to be the best player in the National Hockey League or the guy that has the most potential. It's just you take a look at all the rookies, all the guys who are eligible, and amongst these players, who has the best season. That's it. It's why Artemi Panarin won over Connor McDavid. It's why Kirill Kaprizov won over Jason Robertson. It's why you have yourselves the guys that pretty much win because they have the most points. But of course, there are some years where being number one in points does not guarantee you the award. Sometimes other players are just more convincing. But eligibility for the Calder, to be eligible, a player cannot have played more than 25 games in any single preceding season, nor in 6 or more games in each of any 2 preceding seasons in any major professional league. Now, major professional league, that's just NHL. Like, Artemi Panarin in 2015-16, they did not count his entire KHL tenure, which spanned however many games he had. I think it was like near 150 or something like that. They did not count that as a major professional league. They don't count all these other ones as actual pro leagues, so I don't really understand what the wording here is supposed to mean. I guess it just means NHL. But for Michael Bunting, his NHL career totals before this season went as follows. He had himself 21 games played in 2020-2021, so that's not the 25-game threshold being achieved there. And the 6 or more games in each of the any 2 preceding seasons list, he played 5 games in 2018-19. He didn't play any NHL hockey in 2019-20. And so because of the way the Calder eligibility is worded right here, he cannot have played 25 games in any single preceding season. Okay, he hasn't done that. He has had 5 games and 21 games. But the other one, he cannot have played in 6 or more games in each of any 2 preceding seasons. Each of any 2 preceding seasons means if he has 2 years in the past where he has 6+ games, he's done. Michael Bunting had a 21-game season, so that's 1 year, but his 5-game year is only 5 games, so he was 1 game away in 2018-19 from not being eligible for the Calder this season, or if you want to look at it from 2021 lenses, he was 4 games away from 2020-2021 from not being eligible for the Calder this year either. He is so marginally close to not being eligible, and then you have the age factor too. Beginning in 1991, a player must not have attained his 26th birthday by September 15th of the season in which he is eligible. Michael Bunting is 26 now, but he turned 26 on September 17th. So if he was born 2 days earlier, he would not have been eligible either. He would have been too old. Michael Bunting was 2 days away and 1 game away in 2018-19 from not being an eligible rookie for the Calder this year. But again, by the hairs of his chinny chin chin, he's right there. And I'm not going to get into semantics. I don't really want to go over the entire conversation, should he be eligible, whatever, because there's always going to be some guy that goes in there and he's a little bit older and it gets everybody up in arms about conversing as to whether or not they should be. But long story short, he's right there. And the season he is having, while very good, as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, he's been placed onto that top line with Austin Matthews, doing the things that Zach Hyman has been doing, except he's not making the cap hit Zach Hyman is making. He's only making $950,000. He was signed as a free agent by the Maple Leafs this offseason from the Arizona system after being a prospect taken by them in the 4th round of the 2014 draft. Again, he didn't really fulfill the Calder eligibility requirements, although he was close, in the previous 6-7 years that he's been playing pro hockey. Now this season, he's got 48 points in 62 games played, 20 goals, 28 assists. He's been fantastic alongside of Austin Matthews, just an absolute workhorse, forcing his way to the front of the goal, potting in rebounds, doing some pretty nice plays, and again, just doing everything that Zach Hyman was able to do, and arguably at a much more effective pace. Like, they didn't just try Bunting with Matthews, they cycled him around the rest of the lineup the entire season. He played with Kerfoot and Nylander, Tavares, Nylander, Kasha, Simmons. He's played with a lot of people. And pretty much the only thing that you notice when Bunting goes out there and he plays with these guys is that he actually makes them all better. Like, he is a very good hockey player. It's just, when you take a look at the magnitude of how good he has been, because he is number 1 in points amongst rookies now, and because that conversation has persisted itself for the past few weeks, you have Toronto Maple Leafs fans shoving it down everybody's throat that all of a sudden this guy is the up and away front runner for the Calder Trophy. And sure, while I understand that Michael Bunting and the way that he plays, plus the very nice words that he says to the media, is a very good interview, and a lot of people in Toronto, especially the people who are going to be voting for this award, like him very much for that, even though you have yourselves a season where Michael Bunting is doing what he's doing, he's still tied with Raymond in points right now. Sure, he's got 1 fewer game, but they have the same goals and the same assists. For me right now, if I were to take it and pause this moment in time, okay, who's had the better season between Bunting and Raymond? Just taking a look at the years themselves. Disregarding the age, disregarding eligibility, let's say they're both eligible, so they're both equally likely. Raymond has my vote. Because for Michael Bunting, he's playing with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. He's already on top of the world when it comes to these lineups, and Raymond is not. Straight up, just Raymond being the guy who is doing what he's doing on the Red Wings, being the top guy on the Red Wings. Okay, Larkin is there, but he's no Austin Matthews. My vote goes to Raymond all of a sudden when you're taking a look at just the points. In fact, if you want to go over points, Trevor Zegras has a higher points per game than both of these guys. But that's not why you clicked on this video. You clicked on this video because Moritz Seider is also in the thumbnail too. Moritz Seider has 42 points in 63 games played as a defenseman. He is 4th overall. He has more points than Anton Lundell. Moritz Seider just had himself a beast of a game yesterday against the Philadelphia Flyers, where if you saw just what this guy is able to do, not just in terms of producing points, he had 0 points against the Flyers. Go figure, they won 6-3, but he didn't score. This guy's an absolute tank. And he's already the top defenseman on the Red Wings, playing big minutes, making some big hits, and look, it's like every few shifts you have yourselves an opponent that tries to go out there and nail Seider into the boards or whatever, but he never gets taken down. He's a brick wall. Every time he shoves the puck away, he sends it out in a clearing attempt, he makes a pass or whatever, somebody comes in to follow up on their check, and nope, there you go, there's Seider's shoulder right into your shoulder, and he takes you down. He's so good at that, and all the highlights of him just doing what it is that he's doing. Also, defensively, I saw a few games here and there, a highlight package here and there, and Moritz Seider is already so good in his own zone. He is so polished and refined that it's hard to believe that this guy is a 20-year-old rookie stepping into the NHL for the first time ever. Like, you want to talk about magnitude of how good what these guys are doing? I think that what Seider is doing is more impressive than Michael Bunting being placed onto a line with Austin Matthews and putting up the points that he is doing. Because if you're taking a look at just points, which is a lot of what these voters are going to be looking at, Lucas Raymond is right there with the same amount of points on a worse team. Michael Bunting, while I don't discount the fact that he's so good and he's so effective at such a cheap cap hit, he's just not the most impressive rookie to me. And that's my opinion. So let me know in the comments all your thoughts about Michael Bunting, Seider, how these two are pretty much the front runners now, I guess you could say. And Toronto fans going out there saying that their guy should win, Red Wings fans and a lot of other fans saying that Seider should win instead. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video. Trolls99. And bye.